For
All
sure.
right. So, and then once I get all this, I'll send you the video too. That way you'll have a copy, and you can. I don't know if you're on YouTube or anything like that,
Oh
but
yeah.
I
Yeah,
figured you
definitely.
were. So, all right, man. Let's see. Let's minimize me. All right. So I asked you off camera, but I'm gonna have you explain it again. Tell me about Kwanza Global and what you want to accomplish with it.
All right, so Kwanza Global is all about first being you. So first being yourself, and then once you realize, once you're being honest with yourself, truthful with yourself, and really embracing who you are. Like, what do you want to do? What do you have? Your unique abilities, talents. All the gifts, and what makes you you. That God created you with to impact the world. And then once you're honest with yourself and you're being yourself, you're able to walk within your purpose, and then be able to inspire others along the way. So it's all about authenticity, purpose, and inspiration. Those three things are the core, core values of Kwanzaa Global. So first being yourself, being authentic, purpose, and inspiration. So all of those working within each other, So that's what Kwanzaa Global is about. So just being yourself, and then everything else, just falls in line. And you just become an inspiration, to everyone you meet. Just because you're living the life, you're not trying to be like anyone else. You're living in your truth, and you going out there and you're believing in yourself, and then others can believe in themselves too, because they know you're not faking it. You're not out there just talking it. You're actually believing in yourself and walking that walk, and you're doing it, without apology. So that's Kwanzaa Global right there. So
we were talking off camera about it because I was just like, all right, just give me a little snapshot more than what we had on Hi Ho. But then I was like, immediately wish we was recording because it was like the shit you were saying was so good. I was like, oh, damn, like I don't have this recorded. But I love the part where you said like you're gonna wear clothes anyways. So whatever you're wearing, it's awesome if people can know what you're about before they even come in contact with you, and
exactly.
they see you before they talk to you. You know what I mean? So like if you're wearing Kwanzaa and they're like, wait a minute, I know what that stands for. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be a good dude. Yeah. And it kind of, that's the same thing with Devo. Like I want it to be that idea that like I was telling you, anytime you put on a shirt, you're immediately reminded that you have a dream. And then you immediately are reminded like, wait a minute, have I done anything towards that? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a challenge too. Like just like with the Kwanzaa, like you put that on, it's like, wait a minute. Am I being authentic right now? Like, am I really living my truth? Am I really trying to better the world? Like, I don't know, dude. I love things like that. Like, I feel like we were talking on Hi-Ho. That's how we connected. But, like, I was thinking about sometimes we just go through life without understanding that everything has a purpose and it matters. You know what I mean? Like, you can treat it like it's mundane. You know what I mean? You can treat it like it's just well, today's Monday and I worked and that was it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But if you treat it where, no, this is Monday and something can happen today, you know what I mean? It's just a different approach to life. And then I think you have more meaningful conversations. You walk away learning things and seeing things that maybe you wouldn't have seen if you didn't have your mind focused on that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I may have even said this on Hi-Ho. I don't know if I did because we went back and forth so much I can't even remember half of what we talked about, really. But I bought a Dodge Dart like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
And I never had seen that car on the road before. I know it exists, but I didn't really have eyes to see it because it wasn't in my realm of reality. Like I had never had an experience with a Dodge Dart, so I never noticed them when they were on the road. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The moment I buy that car, dude, I see those things everywhere. Like there's a Dodge Dart that's literally 5 houses down, and I know we didn't buy the car on the same day. You know what I mean? I know he's probably had that car for 2 years or so because he's lived in the same house, but I never noticed that it was a Dodge Dart until I had one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and the same is true with life. It's what you focus on. If you're constantly focusing on the negative, that's what you're going to see because you're going to see everything through that negative lens. But if you're constantly focusing on the opportunities, if you're constantly focusing on bettering yourself and bettering other people around, if you're constantly focusing on inspiring people and being inspired, if you're constantly focused on moving forward, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the opportunities because they're all around you, but you're going to see them and be able to take advantage of it, and you're going to realize there is no such thing as a mundane moment.
Exactly.
There isn't such thing as a wasted day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's all about your perception.
Exactly. I feel like people get, I don't know, I think it's kind of, I feel like life, you know, it's almost like, sometimes it's really a battle against, you know, yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's like, because you can always, there's always a reason, you know, to say, you know, why, you know, to be down, like you said, it's Monday, and it's like, you know, have that reason to get up. Because, you know, the way, you know, whether we're in school and it's kind of like a routine, you know, get up at 7:30, do this, do that. And it's almost like, you know, from an early age, we get taught this is how to do things. And, you know, if you don't do it that way, you know, it's almost kind of like it's wrong, you know, which is why actually when Gary Vee always brings up, you know, how he wasn't good at school and he got D's and F's, but how his parents loved him anyway and kind of, you know, nurtured him towards what he was good at. And it's kind of like, you know, there's always, you know, we could beat ourselves up about, you know, this world is like, getting up in the morning doing this. It's like, all right, if that's not what you want to do, you don't have to do it. But, you know, we kind of I think we let, you know, the world kind of get in our ear. Like, you have to do this, you have to be that, to be successful, to be who you are. But how are they going to tell you who you are when they're not you? You know, they're not living your life, you know? They're not, you know, they're not you, period. So it's like, you know, people are always going to be in your ear about it, but we can't stop that. You know, that's just life. You know, and we go through these things and we can't just change, you know, everything. Like, you know, we can't change people's opinions, what they say, and how society works at the moment. But, you know, no one can force you to do anything, you know, at the end of the day. You know, if you want to get up and, you know, you decide, you know, going to classes and pursuing something that you know is not really, you know, in your core, that's not what's going to help you in your future, then you make that decision, you know. Of course, it's hard. It's harder to, easier to say it than do it, but that's the reality. And that's what I faced. I went through it. So it's like, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not even, when I talk about my brain, it's like I'm living it. Cause like, I was like, every time my dad actually was like, are you trying to do the medicine thing? I'm just like, you know, I'm like, nah, that's not, you know, that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I really want to do this Kwanza Global thing. This is what I want. This is my story. Like, this is my motivation, my why. And like, it just pushes me. And it's like, I just always knew that I love connecting with people. I love having conversations like this, having general relationships and just talking with people. Yeah. And, you know, even people that, you know, it could be a 2-second conversation, but I just love talking with people. And it's like, I just didn't know what to call it, but I knew I wanted to do something like that. And it was like, I didn't just want to go into medicine. And I knew medicine, you know, that's a lot of years. And I'm not just going to go into it and I didn't have the passion for it. I just felt like I'd be robbing myself and just everyone around me, you know, not doing what I really am capable and love to do. And, you know, at the end of it all, when the results come in, you know, everyone's kind of like, wow, it's amazing. But, you know, nobody ever, you know, sees that process like we were talking about on High Ho. Nobody ever sees that, you know, difficult journey when you're battling within yourself, you know, trying to find that love, that passion, and really go to that extra mile despite all the fears and doubts. You know, nobody sees that. And then the end result, whether, that end result that you've envisioned, you know, nobody else sees that vision you had. But when it, you know, develops and becomes something that, you know, you saw for yourself and nobody else saw, you know, everyone else, you know, has all the praise and everything, but, you know, you're humbled, you know. Yeah. It's like, you know, we're so humbled by it because it's like, it's not like it's not great that what we've accomplished, but it's like we knew the work we put in to get there. And it's like, you know, anyone else who's on that journey, we have that appreciation. It's like, go out and do it, you know, which is why I love what we're doing. Cause it's like, when we talk to people, we motivate them. We're not doing it just to, make them feel better about themselves and make them happy. We're doing it from experience because we felt that ourselves. It's like we want to do something. We were in your position. We're going through. We're in that process.
Yeah,
we want you to be in that too.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to know that it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be worth it because you love to do it. And it's gonna have an impact, and it's gonna inspire people to keep going, keep doing it, and not just live, quote unquote regular lives. There's so much more to go. You don't have to just go into work, out of work. Go to sleep, eat lunch, dinner, and then back at it again, and doing something that's so soul draining that we don't really want to do. And it's like, why come into life just doing something you don't want to do? Like no one can really give us a reason for that. Like, why would you be? It's like, okay, it puts food on the table, but all that time you're spending, doing something you don't want to do, you could be doing something you love to do, and then eventually that time's gonna add up, and your life is gonna be better for it overall. And eventually, I think you're gonna make up, all you think you're losing financially at some point. Everything everything works itself out in due time. I believe. Once you put in the work.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So that's how I just feel about it. If you're really consistent and you love it, it's gonna work itself out. And it's not a coincidence that there's so many people who started from the ground really low and built it. Whatever they were doing, whether it's a brand, a company, or whatever, and built it into something great because they put in the work. And while as people, they kind of settled for that, less. And it's like that safe route. And not only they're not as fulfilled, and they may be, putting food on the table or this and that, but they're not really living a life, as as much as they could, if they kind of just said, forget what everyone else is saying. Let me do me.
Yeah.
Not what my employee or my employer says I should be doing. Let me do me. And it's unfortunate because that's why we end up complaining and we don't really appreciate life as much because we're focusing on all the other things. When you're not in your element, life isn't as sweet.
Yeah.
And I think we all have our element. Our place. And sometimes we're just not in it, and that's what makes life harder than it should be,
Dude, I'm glad that you brought this up because I was wanting to ask you about this too. Because you were saying on Hi Ho how like your whole family was in medicine, right?
Yeah, man.
And then like you're going the medicine route because that's the family business, right? And then it's like, but wait a minute, this isn't what I was meant to do. You know what I mean? And I wanted you to share that story because I know there's people out there that are struggling with that same idea. That, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like they have expectation on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because
our family loves us and they want to see us do well and they want us to be okay in life. You know what I mean? And they want us to have good jobs and be secure. And so it all comes from good places. But at the end of the day, if that's not your identity, you can't wear someone else's. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be a miserable existence. You may have security. You may have money in the bank. You may have the house and the wife and the dog and the cat and whatever else. Like you might have the whole nine, but at the end of the day, you don't have yourself because you've put that on the back burner to be accepted by someone else. And if you live for their rejection, you're going to die from their... if you live for their acceptance, you're going to die from the rejection. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to crumble and be crushed when they don't accept it. And so I think it's better for people just to go out and live their truth. And when you were talking about... There's so many things I want to say, but the first one, when you were talking about that people will be less fulfilled when they choose the safe route, I think that's also where hate comes from. And when I say hate, I mean like the hate of like hating on someone else's success. Right?
Exactly.
Because I did a video, it was like a motivational speech, and it was talking about that exact same thing where it's like, I think the line I said in it was, they're going to see you accomplishing your dreams. They're going to see you setting these goals. They're going to see you doing this, and they're going to hate it. You know what I mean? Because people will hate what is great. And they're going to... You're ultimately where they want to be, and they're not there, so they're going to take it out on your work ethic. They're going to take it out on your grind. They're going to take it out on your journey. They're going to take it out on you because that's ultimately where they want to be. And I just want to encourage people, like if that's the place you're in, Like, if you see yourself doing something else, go for it. And the reason I say that is, I was talking to someone not too long ago, and they were telling me they had all these, like, things they wanted to do, but, like, their girlfriend wasn't with it, their parents wasn't with it. They were feeling all this pressure, because people were just like, look, you're too old for that. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was only 25, but still, they were like, you're too old for that. Like you just need to, like, focus on this career you got and do that. And they were basically telling him that it was silly, and it was like a kid thing. But as a kid, we're told to follow our dreams, but then we become adults and we're told not to. You know? Exactly. But anyways, like, but I was telling him, I said, man, at the end of the day, I said, are your parents doing the thing that they've always dreamed to do? And he was like, no. And I was like, is your girlfriend? And he was like, no. And I was like, are your friends? And he said, no. And I said, have any of them had a dream and turned it into reality? And he was like, no. I was like, do any of them have the same dream as you and are living it right now? And he was like, no. And I was like, then they're unqualified to give you advice, man. Like, think about it. You know, like, I would take medicine advice from your dad.
Yeah.
But don't for a damn second take medicine advice from me, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Right? Yeah. Like, I didn't go to the school. I didn't study the books. I didn't put in the work. You know what I mean? So, like, if someone's shooting down your dream and they're not living a dream, don't listen to them. If someone's shooting your dream down and they're not doing the exact same thing you want to do, don't listen to them. Because they don't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, and it's so funny because it's so simple, right? Like, it's just like a simple little thing. And it never hit me till I was having that conversation with that guy. Because for me, like, I've never really cared what people say or think. Like, it's just been a thing for me. You know what I mean? I don't know why. That part just comes a little easier for me. There's other challenges, but that part came kind of easy. And so I've always been the type of person where I'll just jump after it. I'll just go. Like, I'll jump off the bridge. I'll quit my job, sell my house, and live out of my car if I have to. Like, I'll just do it. I'm just that kind of guy. Like, I grew up, like, at 15, I was homeless, and, like, I was, like, 15 to 19. And so, like, being so young and not having those things made me not scared to not have those things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not afraid of losing everything because I've already been there. And if I could survive at 15, I can certainly survive at 30. Like, I can make it. I'm good. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But for him, I was trying to help him understand, like, man, if they haven't been there, dude, they can't tell you how the journey is because they don't know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then the other thing I was wanting to say was, like, when you were talking about encouraging people to go into that process, because me and you are in that process right now. So we're not speaking from someone who has, and I'm speaking for myself because I don't know where you're completely at, but I haven't made it yet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in the journey of that.
Heck yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to wait until I arrive and then start trying to encourage people to do it. Because I don't think we get enough people in the journey talking about the journey. Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, think about it. Like, we're hearing from E.T. He's made it. You know, we're hearing from Gary Vee. He's made it. Like, and don't get me wrong, E.T. was speaking when he was on his way to making it. But I'm saying, like, a lot of times we don't get those voices encouraging us to do things in the process. But every single one of them,
after the fact.
But every single one of them would say, man, I wish I had a camera going back then. That I could show people what this is like. You know what I mean? What the journey's like. Like,
of course.
Like this weekend, I traveled and seen waterfalls because it's a thing that refuels my tank, but I also filmed content. Dude, I slept in my car over the weekend. You know what I mean? Like, I did. I'm taking showers at truck stops. Like that's what I did. You know what I mean? But I would do it again. In fact, I didn't get back till 5 minutes before we recorded this. Like, I literally got home, came in here, turned on the laptop, and called you because, like, I stayed longer than expected. But the reason I did that is because I want to encourage people. You know what I mean? And that's the journey, and that's the process. And whatever I got to do to do it, I'm going to do it. And that's what it's about, man. 100%.
That's it, man. And that is such a, it's really, that is a great point. It is a rarity, though, to really, you know, have that documented, you know, within the process, like literally, like right in it. Like, there's like, no, not 1,000, not even not even 500 people, or just know your name or come into an event. It's like you're right in the middle of the process, and it's so true. And I think it's even more powerful being in that, because it's like, I remember, when you weren't, before everyone, knew of you, you were right there. And it's so important, like you said, for people to know that. Because, again, it's kind of like, it gives them, it makes it, it's attainable,
Yeah.
It's more easy for them to realize it's attainable. Like, they'll look at you within the process like, yo, that's me. Like you're not doing anything I'm not doing. Like, it's like, exactly, that's our point. Like, you can do it too, and it's so important, because when people are talking it from, a point where they've made it, people get distracted at them at that point, because it's like, oh, they've already made it, and all they look at now is like, oh, they got 1 million followers, and so many people are looking at them and trying to talk to them and book an event, and they get distracted by that and not what they're saying and what their process, because they didn't see it. So when we're actually talking from a point where we're actually within that process, it's so important, man, because people look at it, it's like they relate, and it's like, yeah, man, that's like not only are they understanding and they're listening to what we're saying, but they they see that we're not at a place of we're not so high up where it's like, nah, there's no way he knows what I'm going through, and it's like, no, I do. So it's so important that we start now, because it's like, it's just part of it. We're embracing, this is part of who we are, we're not shying away from it. we're not over here scared to talk about it.
And how inspirational is it? Like, because it's one thing to hear someone tell a story, right? Because I hear Gary Vee say it all the time. He's like, dude, I wish I had a camera when I was in that liquor store, like working 20 hours a day, and never going anywhere and just living in a store. And people that I graduated school with is pulling up in BMWs, and you would think I was the one who failed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, damn, I wish you did have a camera, because that to me is more inspiring, when you can see someone progress. You know what I mean? Like, when you can see the early and humbling beginnings, and then you see what they become. Because the majority may see the finished product, but there was a process to get there. You know what I mean? And that journey, man, like, that journey is like just so good. And it's so inspiring too. Like, I remember, and this is just a little thing, but like, because I travel a lot, I travel just because it inspires me. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just literally drive to waterfalls, and I go see a waterfall, and then I just drive back. And before, I was like, I record content at like waterfalls or hiking or whatever. And I remember I'd like post pictures on my personal Instagram of like places I've been, and then people I worked with or whatever, they're like, man, Shawn, that must be nice. You're like going somewhere every weekend. I'm like, must be nice. Like, first off, because this was like when I first started going, I was driving a car that was like a $500 car. It looked like 6 cats were locked in the car and like attacked the seat, like there's fuzz coming out of it. Like, the car overheats, and I'm driving it like 6 hours away, 7 hours away. I'm sleeping in it. Like, at the time, like, I didn't have a lot of money, so I was packing, like, I would like get like a couple loaves of bread and make like 36 peanut butter sandwiches and just eat that on the road, get a couple packs of water. You know what I mean? Like, and I remember I was at this one waterfall, and I did this video, and that's what I said in it. I was like, everyone's telling me like, man, it must be nice. I was like, and I just explained, I was like, I'm the brokest I've ever been. I'm this. Like, I explained everything I just said to you, and I was like, but yet here I am. And I'm seeing more things than I've ever seen in my life. And I probably have less than I've ever had in my life. But I'm not letting that stop me. And it might sound like just a little, oh yeah, that's a cool thought. But like, that's the mentality it takes to make it. You know what I mean? That's the mentality it takes to make your dreams a reality. Because I could say, well, I need to wait till I have a safer car. I could say, well, yeah, if you sleep in your car, what happens if you get robbed? Or what happens if you... Well, it didn't. You know what I mean? Like, it was a risk. You know what I mean? But you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. You know what I mean? You could have a random-ass heart attack right now, just randomly, never have heart problems in your life, and die right now. Like, there's a lot of coulds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you could go out and do what you want to do. That's the other could. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like, at the end of the day, all it is excuses. And I used to say them. You know what I mean? If I was this person, I could do that. Well, it's easier for them. They came from money. Or, well, it's this or that. I can use excuses all day. But at the end of the day, that doesn't help me live what I want to live.
At all.
You know what I mean? If anything, it just makes me bitter. It makes me that hater. It makes me that person like, must be nice. You know what I mean? Like, what must be nice? You know what I mean? Working your ass off? You know what I mean? Eating peanut butter sandwiches? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm telling you.
Exactly, man. That process is so valuable. And it's one of those things where, like, I would hear Gary Vee say that, and I didn't really know what he was talking about, per se. But it wasn't until I thought in terms like that, I was like, that's what he's talking about. Just the grind.
Yeah.
Because the journey makes the destination that much more beautiful.
It's so much more sweeter. Like,
yeah. Because you appreciate it differently.
Exactly.
Like if there was, just using this travel illustration, like if there was a waterfall in my backyard, I wouldn't be as amazed.
Exactly.
Because I would take it for granted. You know what I mean? I'd be like, it's always been there. You know, the same thing if I was born with $1 million and I could just make a company right now, I wouldn't value it the same. I wouldn't love it as much. Same thing with Kwanza. Like, you wouldn't love that as much if it wasn't something that you had to work towards to get. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, these businesses like Kwanza and like Devo, like, that's the reason why they have such deep meanings, because one, we understand the journey, and two, part of our journey is we want other people to be inspired. You know what I mean? We want other people on the journey with us.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, man.
Because it's like the best place to be. Like, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't have $1 million in the bank. You know, I don't drive a Lambo. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't done any of that. But, like, I am happy, you know? And it's an awesome feeling to have. Like,
I'm telling you.
And that just comes from living your purpose.
I'm telling you, man.
You know what I mean?
It's so powerful, man. And it's just so, and I think a lot of the things that, that I feel like, all the things that, we go through, in life, that people, go through, we hear a lot of people, with a lot of money, and then you hear them going through a lot of issues and such, and you're like, and people always gonna say, if I was in your shoes, I would not be complaining, and I've said that too. It's like, dang, he must, but it's like I think about it, it's like, man, it really, it makes you realize the money, what is money, because it's like, I forgot who was saying it, but because think about it like this, I think it was a YouTube video I saw, but I mean, money, of course, in our society, it gets you things, but imagine if we took, that money to another country, we didn't convert it, what is that money to you? If you need food, they're gonna be like, bro, I don't know what to do with this dollar here. You're gonna have to convert it to something we can use. So it just shows you the limit money really has, right? So it's like you have all the money in the world, right? But you're the richest man in the world, and then what if you go somewhere and that money means nothing? Like what value can you provide then? What can you do? What can you do besides that? In a sense, it's like we put so much, emphasis on money, and it's like we neglect mental health, we neglect everything, our own happiness, joy, our peace, and what we could do for each other, for stuff that really, in essence, really, cannot save us. It's so temporary. All these things. It's so, when you think about it, because it's like, if we put that, in our, again, like we can, get all these nice things. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just so much more to life. Money is like surface level, it's so surface level. It's like, all right, we could do certain things, but it's like, all right, what's after that? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? What how can you change someone's life today? Someone's out there not knowing, if their life is worth it, and you could be that one person. You don't know what you have in you to, change that person's life and, lift them up, and you're worried, about, about saving up, to your target goal of this much. It's like, oh, I gotta get a house, I gotta get this. And, I think we just get sidetracked, and it's just about, that priority, and we don't really focus on, our deeper meaning enough. I think too many things in life is too surface level. And I don't think a lot of us, a lot of people just think about, everything is kind of just on the go. Like, yeah. I gotta go. Just take the time to, it's like, what are you really doing in life right now? I feel like for a lot of people that say, it's like, are you satisfied right now? Is this really what you wanted to be at? And I feel like if people are really honest with themselves, they'd be surprised, Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, sometimes when they get to that, point, they think it's too late too. It's like, oh, it's too late for me to do that. And I don't think it's ever too late. It's just, it's just a matter of you being honest with yourself. You
That's it.
True.
Yeah,
and you be true to who you are. You can't just sit back and let someone else, come and save the day. It's your life.
Yeah.
And it's really up to you at the end of the day. And like, if people replay their lives, they can't. There's no one to blame. Like you said, like 14, that is tough. 15 being hope, not having. There's a million and one excuses not to be where you're at right now, to not be motivating or encouraging anyone. Like, everyone would be like, why should he, man? He didn't have a home. He didn't have, man was in his car, traveling, peanut butter jelly sandwiches. He's not over here eating steak and lobster, he's trying to make it for himself. He doesn't have time to be trying to inspire anyone. So many excuses, and people would accept them. But, it's that choice. Like, you have to make that choice. It's your life. And it's like, you can't just sit there. You just can't, Oh, shoot. Let me, quick call. Let me get there. Let me get there right now. All right, I think I'm back. All right, I'm back.
All right. Just kind of went out. I was like, all right.
Cool, yeah. So it's just really, like you were saying, man, it's just that choice you made to just, actually go out, and do what you do. Like, you guys think I'll make it, it's kind of like, a person that commented is what looks like you're having a good time, but they don't see that behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people get caught up in. They see social media, they see people doing this and that, but you don't see what's happening behind it.
What it takes to get there.
The that journey. Context.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And it's like, the fact, even though you don't see that behind the scenes, man, it's not, you thinking I made it, isn't stopping me from going on this grind, I'm not doing this, for you to think I made it, I'm doing this for myself. I'm trying to get to a point where it's like, hey, I'm doing what I love to do, and I'm going to keep doing it, whether, you think I made it or not, that's not the point, and it's like, I'm out here grinding, I'm out here putting in this work, and, I'm going to keep doing it, regardless, it's not for you to, give me recognition or not, I'm doing this. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for me, and then, to change others, and then, after I do this for myself, everyone else, I can inspire other people, through, being honest with myself and going out there and, putting in that work, putting in that grind, living in that process, each and every day. So, man, it really is, it can be hard, but it's really about making that choice. No one can make that choice for you. No one can say, yes, go and do it, because they're not living your life. They can't tell you what to do. They're not, they're not in your shoes. So whether or not they tell you to go and do it or not, ultimately you have to get up and, go out there and do what you got to do. So it's really, people got to make that choice for themselves. It's like, is this really what you want to do?
Yeah.
And you got to. You got to be you really got to be true to yourself, man. Because, if you're not, anyone can tell you anything. And just like that, the dream is over, the so-called dream. So if it's really your dream, anyone can say anything. I don't care who it is. It could be someone you looked up to all your life and tell you to quit. You're not going to quit. You're not gonna quit.
Yeah, and like you just said, man, like it's all about being fulfilled. It's about finding that purpose in life. You know what I mean? And that's where like I love the motivation and the encouragement, because I feel like motivation is useless if it doesn't move you to action. You know what I mean? Because you can be motivated all day, but if it doesn't strike a chord with your inner being to spark that passion in you, because where motivation ends, passion starts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like motivation is meant to spark that passion within you to make you like say, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my life. This is it. And that passion's going to help carry you for the days where you don't want to wake up, the days where you don't want to put in the late nights, the day where you don't want to struggle to do this or whatever. You know what I mean? And if money is the only motivation, man, like it's not enough to carry you through. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of ways to get money in life. There's a lot of things you can do. And that's why a lot of people give up on their dreams, because they're only doing it for the money. And like I heard it put this way one time. It's like having money's not everything. Not having it is. And it's a lyric in a song, but the explanation of that lyric is basically like, when you actually have money, you realize it's not everything. But when you don't have money, you think it's everything. And if your only problem right now is your bank account, then yeah, money will fix your problems. Yeah. But I highly doubt the only problem in your life is money.
Is money.
You know what I mean? If you have a temper problem, if you have depression, if you're struggling with this situation, if you have bad relationships, whatever, we could go on and on and on. If there are other things in your life, money will not fix that. And in fact, in some cases, money could accelerate that. You know what I mean? Like if you have like gambling problems, or if you have addictions, you know, like money could accelerate those things. It wouldn't help those things. And so the idea is like, if it's just money, then yeah, money will fix all your problems. But I doubt it's just money. You know what I mean? It's about the idea of being fulfilled in life. And I said it like this one time in this video. It's like, if you want the Lambo, get the Lambo. If you want $1 million, get the $1 million. Like if you want the house, you want the boat, get it. Just don't for a second think that that's going to change the way you feel about yourself right now.
Exactly.
Like if you're doing any of that to feel better about yourself, you won't. You're actually just going to feel worse, because you're going to think getting that boat or getting that house or getting that $1 million or getting that Lambo is going to make you feel better about yourself. And when it doesn't, that's the type of stuff that makes people take their lives, man.
I'm telling you.
Because they're trying to find their purpose in something that can't possibly fulfill them. What will fulfill them is finding that passion, finding that thing that makes them a better human being. You know what I mean? Exactly. Gives their existence purpose, because money doesn't.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? At any given time, our government could just say, hey, that money's not worth anything anymore. And we'd all be screwed, you know what I mean? And just like, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? Exactly. Like you said, you go to a different country, it doesn't translate, now what? You know what I mean? Like, so you have to have something bigger and something deeper in life that drives you. You know what I mean? The people around you, your friends, your family, the as E.T. puts it, the why. Like, is your why. Like, you got to have a big why, because if you don't, it ain't strong enough. You know, like I was listening to a video today from him, and he was saying that same thing. Like, it was like, he was talking about, like, not getting his PhD. You know what I mean? Like, his doctorate. Like, and he was saying, like, I guess one of the guys that's in his crew was like, hey, my wife's going to get hers before you. And he's like, oh, man. Like, I've been in the program for a while. And he's like, let me tell you, if you're not reaching your goals, then it's that why is not big enough. You don't have enough skin in the game. You don't have enough to lose. You haven't bet it all on that. And if you can just think what getting that or obtaining that in your life would do for the people around you, you know what I mean? And so he was like, put a year on that goal, put a month on that goal, and then put names on that goal. And every time you don't want to do it, you say, man, I'm doing it for my grandma. You know, I'm doing it for whoever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it for a bigger purpose. And so that's why, like, I love brands like what you're wanting to do, because I was telling someone the other day, like right now I'm trying to open like 8 businesses. I don't talk about the other businesses. I mean, I talked a little bit about it on Hio because someone was asking me what I do, and I'm like, well, I'm trying to sell real estate. I'm like, you know, trying to like a vending machine company, like just all kinds of different things. The reason I don't talk about those things is because those things are indisposable to me.
Yeah.
They're only meant to fund the thing I really want to do. And the thing I really want to do is what we're doing right now. Talking about inspiring people or going to the jail and speaking to 20 guys. I'm not getting paid for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't care to get paid for that because it's the thing that I was put on this earth to do. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to fund my own dream is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like, I will work around the clock to fund the thing that I do want to do, and I'll give everything I have to do it. And so the idea then is that there's no stopping that because I'm going to do everything I can to make sure the vending machine company takes off because that's my why. I want to inspire people. You know what I mean? I'm not selling drinks out of a vending machine, you know what I mean? To make money. I'm doing it to make money so that I can travel and go to this place and speak to this group for free. You know what I mean? Like, that's the idea. And so I was telling my friend the other day, I was like, so I'm never not going to try hard on those things. I'm going to give everything I have to that because I know ultimately that's going to let me do this. So the why is so it's all looped together. You know what I mean? Like, I can't not do it because that's my why. I have to inspire people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So the reason for that, I'm going to ask you this question. I don't know how long we got. We've been talking almost an hour, so we can probably end soon. But for me, I'll give mine first. I want to ask you. Like, for me, the reason I want to inspire people, that's the question. Why do you want to inspire people? For me, it was when I was 14. You know what I mean? And I went through all that stuff, and my parents split up, and then all that happens. You know what I mean? I have open heart chest surgery, and then our house gets foreclosed, and then I'm told that I shouldn't be born, and then and all this stuff's happening, and I just pack up a garbage bag full of clothes, and I just start living from friend's house to friend's house, just bouncing around. I eventually turned 16. I buy a car. I start living out the back. It was a minivan, so I took all the seats out, put an air mattress in it, and I just parked it at the high school, and I would sleep at my high school so I could graduate high school. You know what I mean? But there was a guy that I crossed paths with, and his name's David. And he changed my life. And I only knew him for 4 years before he passed away. I met him when I was 14. He died when I was 18. But the reason that I want to inspire people is because if it wasn't for him, I can't tell you that I wouldn't have took my life. You know what I mean? I can't tell you that I wouldn't have gave up. I can't tell you that I wouldn't have turned to drugs. I can't tell you that that wouldn't have happened because those situations are difficult to deal with at young ages. You know what I mean? Our minds don't know how to comprehend it. You know what I mean? It's difficult. And if it wasn't for someone taking time out of his day to just make me know that I was cared for and loved for, I don't know what I would have done. So all I want to do at the end of my life is pay that back. That's it. That's it. You know what I mean? And that gives my life meaning.
I got you, man.
So, anyways, why do you do this? Why do you want to inspire people?
So, for me, man, one, like I said earlier, I always wanted to, I just knew I wanted to do something that was really, within my that fit who I am, and really touch people, because again, I just love, to connect with people and, friendships, and it was just something, I just love, making people feel better. And I think it's something I also realized from very young, when I was in elementary school, when someone, because I think I was always very emotional, but, I was someone who really felt a lot, whatever the case may be. I just felt, for people and things. So if someone was feeling down or hurt, I wanted to go out my way and make them feel better, from an early age, just that. And then it's just something that I felt within me. And then, to get vulnerable now, my mom had passed, last year. And man, that shook me like nothing else.
Yeah.
So and I had started the business before she had passed, and that right there, she's my why, because she impacted me like none other. Because I'm, I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for her, man. And just the impact she had in my life. So just her and everything she meant to me. That she's my biggest why. Everything, just growing up and everything, she was to me, and just, her, just her loving me unconditionally. Even if I did things she didn't agree with, and I knew I was gonna get it, there was nothing that was gonna stop her from loving me. That type of love, that type of care, that connection. And she was always taking, I'll be playing in the driveway with my friends. She would make us take a whole group picture and she was always taking those moments. And everyone who knew her, man, has something, a story about her that they touch, she touched their life. And
yeah,
she's gonna live forever. She's not here in the physical, but she's still here. And I always feel, and that's why it's like, it hurts not to have her here, but it's like, I gotta keep going for her, man. Cause if she was here, man, I would be great. There's no, she want me to be great. I'm gonna be great. And I want to do something, to impact others like she impacts me in my life. Plain and simple. That's what I want to do, and I want it to be big. I don't want to just do something just to do something. I want it to be big, because I know she's still with me. She's still here. Her presence, her love, and I want to share that with others. Because I know she, I'm a part of her. So
yeah,
it's
man.
like I'm carrying that on.
That's it.
And so that's like my biggest why. No matter what, if I want to give up, I'm not giving up, man. Because she's not here to finish. I know she's watching me.
Yeah.
And, I'm doing it for, she wants me to make sure all my pops, all my siblings, everybody good, my girl is good, everybody. She wants to make sure that, I'm doing right, here. Everything that she instilled in me and everything that she raised me up to be. And I'm not gonna take that for granted at all by just doing something I don't want to do.
That's it.
And she, number one, I know if if I didn't want to do medicine, whatever I didn't want to do, whatever she was gonna have my back, and she had my back all the way through, to the last moment. So that's my why, man, forever.
Dude, I love that.
So
I love it, man. Dude, that's so good. And I didn't expect anything less, because like when you were talking about like you've had this in you since a kid, that was deposited in you by her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes sense that that's your why. Like that's just, and that's what I was ultimately getting at too. Is like it was deposited into me, and I think that that's where it's real, and that's where people have to, like, whatever they're doing, because inspiring people isn't everyone's thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
I think being a good human being should be everybody's thing.
Exactly.
But as far as like motivating and inspiring people, like not everyone has minds that work that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I get phone calls all the time from people like that are just close to me, and they'll ask me for advice. And it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, it could be like someone I haven't talked to in 20 years, and they'll call me and be like, "Man, I knew you could give me advice." You know what I mean? And the reason is because that's just natural to me. Like, it's just the thing that just flows out. For someone else, the thing that might flow out is like construction work. I don't know. You know what I mean? They might just be damn good at building houses. You know what I mean? And like, that's what they need to do in this life, is build damn houses, because they could just spit them out. You know what I mean? And for other people, it might be, fitness. It might be whatever it is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's a slew of things. But at the end of the day, find the thing that gives your life a deeper purpose.
Exactly.
Because that's what you have to hold on to when you go through the difficult moments in life. And it's not if those difficult moments happen, it's when. Because life's not perfect. You know what I mean? We talked about this. But it's going to happen. I don't want to sound cynical, but it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen to all of us. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And we have to be ready for that in the sense that if you are deeply knowing your purpose in life, when that shit happens, it ain't going to break you down. But if you don't know that, man, that's the stuff that could, like, stop you. You know what I mean? And that's the stuff that could, like, defeat you. And so if you know why you're here, if my heart's still beating and there's still breath in them lungs, like, I'm going. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing. What can you do? You know what I mean? Yeah. What can you do to me? Like, that's the thing. Like, if that's still beating and I'm still breathing, you can't stop me. There's nothing you can do to me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I've been through too much shit. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you.
I'm getting, like, pumped now. All right, so I don't want to end, man. All right, so one of the things that has always interested me, I don't really watch a lot of TV anymore. I don't really watch anything. The thing that I will do is I'll be on YouTube and I will watch interviews, or it's how I stumbled upon Gary. Like, I will watch how people make it.
Yeah.
I will study that shit. And I've always been a big fan of, like, rap music. And so first it just started, like, studying, like, hip-hop artists. You know what I mean? So, like Master P, for instance. I'm sure you know who that is. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I never even asked you how old you are. So I'm like, you know, Master P, like, I mean, like.
I remember Master P.
Okay.
I remember, because I used to watch, especially when I was younger, his son, when he had
the Romeo show or whatever.
There you go. I used to watch that a little bit, so I remember that.
All right. Well, like, back in the day, he was like this huge rapper, right? So, like, in the late 90s, and or like mid 90s. And so, No Limit Records, they, like, Master P had a net worth of $600 million, okay? $600 million. And then he got divorced, and now it's like 300 or whatever, because it split, but whatever. But my point is, $600 million, right? He puts out a record label, and they release music more than any record label has ever released music. They're putting out, like, albums every week. You know what I mean? And they sell, like, this crazy-ass number, and they're all independent. He also had, like, one of the best record deals that you could ever get in music history. It was an 85-15 deal. So, like, he got 85% of the profits, and the distributor just got 15%. And they made more money than the record label did. You know what I mean? Because he had his own record label. Well, anyways, fast forward like 5 years before that.
Yeah.
Jimmy Iovine from Interscope Records hears a Master P because he's like selling CDs out of his trunk, and he's just doing the same thing he did in Louisiana, like all over. Like, he'll just go up to like different neighborhoods, start selling his CDs, and just asking people to buy them. And he's selling like, I don't know, 200,000 out of his trunk. I mean, he's making some moves, right? Record label gets a hold of him and says, hey, we want to sign you, come out. They fly him and his brother out. They meet Jimmy Iovine, and Jimmy Iovine's like, all right, here's the record contract. It's $1 million deal. Master P's looking at it, and he's like, hey, we're going to go get something to eat, and then we'll come back. And he said he started looking at the record deal, and it was saying, like, he wouldn't ever be able to use his name anymore. You know, it's $1 million up front, but you got to pay that money back. Like, you know what I mean? It's a loan when you get a signing bonus. So anyways, like, he's reading all this, and he's like, man, I don't know about this. And so they get on the airplane and go home. He doesn't go back. And Jimmy Iovine told him, he's like, dude, if you don't come back, you'll never get a record deal in this town. And he ends up just getting on the airplane, and he said, like, his brother was so pissed at him. He was like, dude, why didn't you, like, take that $1 million so we could go take over the projects? Like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? And he goes, dude, that guy doesn't know me at all.
Yeah.
And if he is offering me $1 million and he doesn't know anything about me, how much you think I'm worth? 40, 50?
Way more.
Turns out 600. You know what I mean? 600 million is what he was worth.
That
like,
was amazing, man.
The idea behind that, man, is that don't sell yourself short, man. Once again, it's not about the money, but it's about the idea of you got to know your value. You got to show your value. You owe the world your value, so share your value and then see other people's value. If you do that, man, your life has so much more purpose to it. The other story I was going to say, like, and you may know these stories, I don't know, but the other one that I always appreciated was, like, 50 Cent. Because, because his mom, you know, got murdered, and then because, like, he got shot 9 times, and he was blackballed from the industry. And so, like, when he finally made it, there was no stopping him. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And they wrote this book. It was called like the 50th Law of Power. I don't know if you've ever like read it or anything, but it's like real interesting. And the guy was saying like 50's Law of Power is his fearlessness. And like in this interview, he describes it. He's like, the worst things already happened to me. Like I nearly died and my mom was killed. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, there is nothing that's going to happen in that business room with those old white folks that's going to make anything worse than what already happened to me.
And he's got a good point, man.
Exactly, man. And so that's why, like, if someone's going through shit in their life, I want to encourage them that, like, if you still have a heartbeat, if you're still breathing, like, I know it hurts and I know it sucks and you're probably going to cry about it again. But if you can do this and feel something beating against your hand right now, then it didn't take you out. And if it didn't take you out, then you have everything to look forward to, right? Like you can get forward now. Like you can move past this. It might not seem like you can, but if that thing's ticking, you can. You absolutely can. 100%. It doesn't mean it will be easy. It doesn't mean it won't be difficult. It doesn't mean that you won't shed tears over it. It doesn't. All that's true, but it means that there's still possibility. Because what's beating in your chest is possibility. It's potential, man. That's what's beating.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Dude, this is one of many, right?
I'm telling you.
This is one of many recordings, right? Cause, like,
yeah, I'm telling you.
Okay. All right. Because we've been going for like an hour and 15 and it doesn't feel like it. So, but yeah, man, let's connect again, all right? And
oh man, I'm with it.
All right, I'm gonna end the recording here, but stay on. I want to talk to you a little bit before we
no
end.
problem.
Okay? All right.